I mean, there are plenty of ideological and a few material openings for alternatives right now, but they haven't been very well spelled out. Meanwhile, if you look at, say, the British Conservative Party's Congress last week, if you've been following Great Britain, you know the Tories are probably going to return to power there in their next election. They just had a party Congress in which it sounds like everybody's an unreformed Thatcherite. They're talking about how important it is to take government out of the economy. We're now over-invested in the economy. We need to take government away, let the free market fix these problems. And they're dead serious about it. So this is what I think labor is up against, what social movements are up against. We have a very small window in which to try to make different kinds of demands. Meanwhile, the right is trying to exploit these openings. In the United States, if you look at the response to Obama and healthcare, it's not progressive movements. It's the right that's really mobilized, that's used the economic crisis to really mobilize around uncertainty. And it's really banal, perhaps, to talk about the need to structure demands in a way that requires a new way of thinking. In social theory, people on the left have been talking about needing to think in new ways about finance and capital for as long as I've been alive, probably as long as the gray-haired people in this room have been alive too, no offense, Alan. And yet we have to do something along these lines. The ideas of re-regulating finance have been raised as proposals. I think this is important, but can we go further than this? Why do we stop at regulation? Why aren't we talking more about what democratized finance looks like? I mean, some people have thrown around this term on the left. Very few people have actually started thinking seriously about what democratized financial systems look like. I don't think it's even remotely radical anymore to talk about banks as public utilities. There was a time a couple months ago when it looked like this was probably going to happen.
Nationalized.
Yeah. You know, what would it mean to make banks public utilities? What about all the foreclosed homes in the United States? A few months ago, 1 in 7 homes in the U.S. was empty. Why not take these over, turn them into public housing? Right? You know, there are really serious possibilities. These aren't pie-in-the-sky options in the middle of a crisis like this, but it requires people to have the imagination to go out and grab them. How can we have a green economy? We've been talking today about how there's no national industrial policy in Canada, certainly not the United States either. Why don't we just decide to have a green economy? Can we talk about this? And the crisis also, I think, provides an opportunity to rethink in a more fundamental way the role of government, public resources, and social solidarity in a country. Look at the United States, again, all these foreclosed homes, poverty is on the rise, and yet, if you add up the total amount of money that creates the deficit of all the people who are living below the poverty line, the official poverty line in the United States, you get a number of about $180 billion. Doug Henwood was talking about this just the other day. That's what the government spent to bail out AIG. So for the same amount of money that you can spend to bail out a corporation without blinking an eye, you can end official poverty in the country. So this is an opportunity to think more radically, to think more fundamentally about where to go. And there aren't obviously any easy answers. But I'm hoping we can have a conversation about how much we want to demand from the government, from the banks, from the financial sector. Can they be our financial sector, or is it always somebody else's?